So next up is someone we all know. We have her worship, the mayor of Mississauga, Bonnie Crombie. Since her election as mayor in 2014, Mayor Bonnie Crombie has diligently worked to hold the line on taxes, invested in improving traffic congestion and building transit, attracted major economic development while managing the growth of Canada's 6th largest city. No easy feat, but she has achieved it all. Mayor Crombie has served as the Ward 5 City Councillor and as Member of Parliament for Mississauga Streetsville. Before entering public service, Mayor Crombie enjoyed a 20-year career in business. Welcome, Mayor Crombie. It's a delight to have you here with us this evening.
Good evening, and thanks for having me on board tonight. A pleasure to be here.
Very lovely to see you, and thank you again. If I have left anything out in your introduction, please feel free to add. But I was wondering if you could take a couple of minutes and share with us your journey regarding what it takes to kind of reach to where you are and stay there. And you've done that more than once now. So we look forward to hearing that story.
Well, thank you for this opportunity, Sangita and Vijay. Vijay and I are old friends, so Surinder Sharma too. Vijay and I have been to India a few times together. You know, women in politics, women in business, women in senior management positions. You've met a cabinet minister earlier, you've met a CEO. What incredible women we have in the GTA. I'm very proud. But that said, only 25% of politicians, of mayors in Canada are women. And in the big city mayors club, there are 23 municipalities that participate. Only 4 of us are women.
Wow.
Only 4 of us, myself, the new mayor in Regina, the mayor of Montreal, Val Plante, and the mayor of Longueuil. So that's it. The others are smaller municipalities or that have women as their mayors, or the big city mayors, the balance are men. So it's very interesting. If you want to hear about my journey, I mean, I was looking through your questions. Are you going to be going through those, or do you want me to address some of those now?
Yeah, we could. It's just before I bring Vasudha Seth on, we just kind of wanted to talk a little bit about the topic that we're sticking to today, is about how you reach where you are and how you stay there. Just a couple of minutes of, you know,
Sure.
Words of wisdom there.
So appreciate the question. I've always been political. I always had a great interest in politics. Even before I went to university, I was always knocking on doors for somebody else and enjoyed policy and shaping policy and debating. And that was very interesting, very stimulating for me. I thought that if I was close to politicians, I could help shape policy. And so I always wanted to work in politics. And I chose a party that I thought best reflected me. And I was very inspired by our current Prime Minister's father, Pierre Trudeau, who believed in multiculturalism and the path that our country has taken. And you know, the first minister of multiculturalism was Polish, and he was Senator Stanley Hajdasz, and I'm Polish background, and I thought, wow, this is for me. And of course, the Prime Minister, Pierre Trudeau, was so inspirational at the time. So I worked hard for other people for many, many years. I went to university, studied political science, but also international relations, but never really entertained a career in politics myself. I went into business. I have an undergraduate degree, as I said, then did an MBA a little later, but I've always worked in marketing jobs, advertising jobs, and but always was engaged in the community, and was always very driven to make my city, my community, my neighborhood a better place. I always sat on boards and boards of directors, and I became kind of a go-to person when you wanted to get things done. Speak to Bonnie Crombie. She's got a lot of energy, that woman does. My kids called me Mrs. Buttinsky. Bonnie hasn't met a problem she doesn't want to solve and butt into anybody else's problems. So that kind of sums me up pretty well. So I had a career in business. I had a very successful husband and became sort of a corporate wife and managing kids, but that was never really enough for me. And so one day when I was, people said, you know, you're a business person, you're a community leader, you're well connected in the community. And by the way, we're a woman, you're a woman, and we need more women in politics. Why don't you consider running yourself? And I thought, me? Me? I think my response, like Lisa's, was when she said, you need to interview me. I said, oh, no. I know a really great guy. I'm going to bring him on board. You're going to love him. He's going to be perfect. And I was told, boy, if I had men with your credentials, they wouldn't be saying, I got another guy I'd bring in here. They'd be saying, we want this writing, I want this support and this funding, and this is what I want. And here you're advocating for other people. But I never really saw myself in that role. I saw myself in the background, helping other people get elected. And of course, I did have a business career first. But then it became apparent I was a logical choice because I was plugged into the community. I worked at the grassroots. I sat on so many boards. I helped build the cancer center at Credit Valley Hospital. I was the vice chair of the panel on the arts looking for sustainable funding. I sat on school boards and you name it. I was engaged and involved. And I thought, you know what? Maybe this is just that next step for me. Of being involved in the community, giving back and help making this my community, my city. And at the time it was my riding because I had to run for a Liberal nomination in Streetsville. This is my way of giving back if I could ever win. But of course they put you through an open nomination. That meant I ran against 7 other people, 1 other woman, 5 other men. And I thought, oh my goodness. And they're ranked ballots. If you understand what a ranked ballot is, you state your preference. And usually it goes through multiple ballots before they make their choice. I won on the first ballot with 70% of the vote. So it was pretty clear I was going to be the Liberal candidate in Streetsville. And it was a real honor. I cherished my time. It was just so awe-inspiring to walk into Centre Block, into the House of Commons. It was so humbling, honestly, to be able to serve your country that way. And I, served on public accounts, Heritage Committee, Veterans Committee. I did a lot of great work bringing stimulus funding into Mississauga, into my riding. But then, we had an election and the government changed. And I like to say I took the early retirement package. And Hazel approached me and she said, I've got a seat on my council. And at first I thought, how could a member of parliament run for council? Yeah. And I said, that's just ridiculous, Bonnie. You love to serve your community. And that's what this is about, serving the community and giving back. It's a noble profession, never mind what level of government you're at. So I put my head down, I became a councillor, did some great work, created a business improvement area for Malton, created a shinny hockey league. I had town hall meetings every month. People knew that I was serious, I was engaged, and I was going to represent them well. And then one day Hazel called me into her office. When the boss calls, yes, you gotta go see the boss. You know what you think? Oh no, what did I do wrong this time?
Yes, that's the first thought. Yes.
Right.
How inspiring.
Okay, she asked me to come see her because she said that she was thinking of retiring. Wow. She was 92 years old. She'd been married for 34 years. She served 2 more years and then she retired. She said, I'm going to retire. You should run for mayor. I said, what? No, I've been here 2 years, Hazel. I probably go back to Ottawa, be a member of parliament. But you know what? I went home and I said, Hazel thinks I should run for mayor. And boy, oh boy, she's a mentor, a friend, an inspiration to all of us. We chose Mississauga because of her vision to build this city. Boy, oh boy, if that woman thinks I could do her job, that's something to think about. Absolutely. I got to go home and talk to my campaign team and say, what do you think? What do you think about this? So we decided it was the right thing to do and ran. And of course, it was a competitive election, the first one in 2014. It was a tough one, but the odds were for me. Yes. And I won. I work hard. I work very, very hard. Anyone who knows me knows how hard I work. I give it my all. I've been going at this since 8 this morning, and this will be another 12-hour day.
Thank you.
I just don't give up. I'm very driven and I'm very dedicated and determined to give back. So
that's amazing.
I won and then ran again for re-election. And I hope next October in 2022 to put my name again for re-election. So
absolutely.
That's my story. It's a lot of hard work. Yeah. I think I got lucky. It came at a time where you weren't running against an opponent, not an opponent, I'm sorry, an incumbent. It's always tough to displace an incumbent, but she was retiring. Yeah. And even on my council seat, I ran against 27 people to get on council. So And I registered on the last day because it took a little while to convince me that I should try the municipal politics after federal. But here we are. It's worked out pretty well, and I love it. And I love that I get to build a city and shape our community and shape our neighborhoods. That is way more influence for me than, you know, giving speeches in the House of Commons. As much as I was honored to serve that role and enjoyed it so much, I think for me, building a city even more so.
Amazing. I think a common thread that I see through the whole story and the journey you've shared is that you had passion for doing what you do, no matter at what level you were at, and you wanted to make a difference, and you wanted to give back. Like, that's a common theme I'm seeing throughout. So amazing. And it's really nice to hear, you know, so candid version from you yourself.
Yes, I don't have a script. I'm just making this up as we go along. And later on, when we talk about the challenges, I'll talk about the challenges of, you know, being a corporate spouse, of raising 3 children, and that's not easy doing everything all at the same time.
And we'll absolutely come to that. Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor Crombie.